So the question is it wrong to try and pick up girls in a dungeon?
Hey, this is Ash Ketchum, and you're watching Airlim!
Now you might be wondering, with an anime name like that, what sort of anime is it? Now you also might be wondering, is like, do I need to watch this anime? And I'm going to say yes, you need to watch this anime because it's absolutely awesome. When I was told about this anime, I thought it was just going to be fan service, just fan service everywhere, but I'm so glad I actually sat down and watched it. I started watching it in Japanese and I couldn't really get into it back then, but I decided to watch it all in English and oh my god, I'm so glad I did. After watching a few episodes of this anime, I'm now hooked and it is definitely in my kind of like top anime list of all time. And with me being hooked on it, I'm hoping you'll be hooked on it, so let's start talking about the actual anime itself and the review! The story is all set about an adventurer named Bell and his goddess Hestia. It starts off with Bell wanting to become more of an adventurer. He wants to get stronger, and in the city where he lives there's a sort of big dungeon that has multiple levels with many monsters. Now you're introduced to Bell fighting a Minotaur, but rather than actually having the upper hand, he is actually kind of being beaten and the Minotaur looks like it's going to kill him. But at one precise moment, the Minotaur is killed by a female adventurer. The female adventurer that he meets is called Ahis. As she's killed the Minotaur, Bell looks at her and then falls in love. He really wants to become stronger so that he can be at her level. Although at the beginning you're thinking, oh, well Bell and Ahis are going to get together. You know, that's the main love interest. But actually, the one that I think that is there is with Bell and Hestia. Although at times, even though Hestia has said, like, oh, I love you, I want to be with you, Bell kind of is that person who's like, oh, I don't really know, well, you didn't tell me, or anything like that. And even though that kind of goes on a little bit through the anime, it kind of gets very irritable and kind of, what the hell, and you kind of really want them to get together near the end or at some point during the anime. In the first episode, when you're introduced to Hestia, you kind of think it's going to be a fan service anime. Anytime that she's going to be on screen, you're going to say, oh, yeah, it's just going to be the same, it's boobs and ass. But it isn't. It kind of like shows it in like the first maybe couple of episodes, but then it kind of like moves swiftly on and deters from that, which I'm really glad they did, because if it was all the time it'd be like, oh, I can't really take this character seriously. But I'm really glad they kind of got rid of the fan service, or it's still there slightly, but it's not kind of focused on that. I'm going to give a brief description and kind of go through what this all is, and hopefully I'm not going to give away too many spoilers, but let's talk about it. As I said before, you're looking at Bell and Hestia. These are the two main characters that you will focus on more than anyone else. Hestia is a goddess. She has been sent from the divine above to actually choose people, and she meets Bell kind of like early on, but you get that flashback sequence later on. Bell is an adventurer. He wants to become stronger, and you find out something about him at the very end, but I'm not going to tell you, because when I found out I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. With this sort of anime of like an RPG style, you get the whole thing of they have to do quests. They get armor, they get weapons, they get magic, they get skills, abilities, everything, and this is what Bell is working for. In the first episode you find out that he's been getting like these small gems that can be kind of given in for money, and then they can spend it on whatever they want. And this is the whole thing. You kind of think that it's going to be a build up towards that, where, you know, they're just going to get money because they want to live better and they want to eat more food. At the very beginning, Hestia finds out that Bell has an ability, and this ability in a nutshell means that if he is more focused with emotion or something, whatever he's doing, he will gain it. If Bell went out and said, right, okay, I'm going to focus on this, and you know, I want to get stronger, that's his emotion, and that ability that he has boosts it up, so he would gain more EXP. And over the course of the anime, he gains a lot, and people get jealous of this. He reaches level 2 and people are like, hang on a minute, no, you know, he's scrawny, he's not an adventurer, he can't even fight his way out of a wet paper bag, how is he stronger? And this is kind of a little bit of a focus through all of it, and later on near the end it grinds on me that I would just want to punch all the people that say it, because it I know it makes me feel that they just don't care, and it's like you have to have big muscles and you have to have big weapons to be considered a great adventurer. There is another character which I'm going to be talking about near the end, where she joins up with Bell and then suddenly betrays him and then doesn't care about him, but then suddenly falls in love with him after Bell shows her compassion and says, hey, I'm a really good guy, I don't care what you've done to me, I'm going to make sure that you're okay and that you're safe. Now, kind of a main focus in this is the girl Ahis, who he meets at the very beginning, who she defeats the Minotaur that's about to kill him. And the main focus is like, that's the person that he's in love with. She is literally just made as like this amazing person that's super strong. In the end, she starts training him to make him stronger because he only uses a knife. Now, this is really cool because I would thought that he would use a sword, that he would have a certain ability for swords, but he's all about knives for some strange reason. And it's really nice seeing a character use that particular weapon. As Bell continues to progress in the anime, you see that all these other characters do. You see the love that Hestia has for Bell, and the fact is that she will do pretty much anything for him, and that really relates later back in the anime, where she needs him and she wants to make sure that, that he's safe, and the fact is that he wants her to be safe, and it's just a really nice gel of characters. And even in the intro or the outro, you kind of see that love, and I really like that, especially in the first episode where, you know, she's like, oh, I've got some more money so we can both eat food, and he's really humble towards her, and I think this is the reason why she really loves him. The animation is kind of, it draws you in quite quickly, where you see Bell versus the Minotaur, to the point where he's running through the streets covered in the Minotaur's blood after Ace has destroyed him, and you know, it's just funny, and this is one thing I really like, the humor. It brings you in and it gets you hooked straight away. The story progresses at a steady pace, and there is not really that many places where it gets boring, where I'm like, skip that episode, or I can't be bothered, and then I'm doing something else. So it keeps it at a steady pace, keeps you engaged and interested to the point where it's from start to finish, and this is the reason why I'm really digging this anime. Bell is one of the most interesting characters, as well as Hestia. Now, with Bell, you're drawn to him quite a lot due to the fact that he's got white hair and red eyes, and every single time that he's on screen or that he's anywhere around, your attention is drawn to him. With some of the other characters, they do look like they could become background characters or characters that you would forget a little bit about, but Bell is the main focus. And when it came to the last battle, oh my god, it gave me goosebumps all over my body, because when you saw Bell, when he was in the state that he is, it was focused, it was driven, and I just thought, oh my god, this is amazing. As mentioned before, the writing of the show, in general, all of it is really fun. There are parts where it dipped, but then it brought it back up straight away, and it had those moments when you're watching anime that when it came to like the end, you're like, no, 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 I need to see what happens. I really, really need to know what happens in the next episode. What? And when you've got it on Blu-ray or DVD, you know you have it, so you don't have to wait a week or anything like that. Bell's kind of personality is the same as pretty much anyone, like say Kirito from Sword Art Online or anywhere else, where he wants to do good by his friends. He is that lovable character that just wants to be helpful, wants to protect everybody that he loves. When you look at Bell and the way that he interacts with Hestia or his friends, then boom, you know that he means it, and this is really nice. This is something that you always see a lot of, but sometimes you believe it and sometimes you won't, and this is the time when I actually generally thought, Bell, you want to be friends, you want to make sure that everybody's safe, and even if someone that you don't know has come up and you're starting to make friends, you'll want to protect them as well, and that's what makes Bell a really decent character. Some of my favourite moments happen, and they really stand out when Hestia is getting a knife made for Bell. It's designed for him, it's for him, and it will only work for him. You know I'm going to say that a lot. It's a moment when she gives him that knife and he just breaks down and he's so happy. One of my all-time favourite moments though is the point where Bell and his team go down into the lower levels because they're like level 2, and then they know that's going on, that they can survive, they want to get stronger. So when they go down to like one of these lower levels, they get ambushed, but then they get tricked by someone else that kind of like, I think they rushed them or they barged past them, which causes Bell and his team to get attacked by the higher level demons and the monsters. And at this point, when the team is pretty much defeated, Bell is the only one left standing, and as they progress they go like, okay, well what can we do? We can either do this, or we can go lower, we can go to the safe spot that I know that is down here. And when that happens, Bell's teammates just faint at points, and Bell picks them up. He forgets everything that they've got, from the magic gems to equipment, and he picks them up and he runs. He gets to the safe spot, but there's bosses, there are other bad guys, and Bell just doesn't care about the monsters or anything. He wants to get his team like to safety, and this was a great moment that made me really pay attention and just stop what I was doing, and I was just concentrating on that moment. Hestia was one of my favorite characters because she showed a lot of love for Bell, and it felt genuine. It wasn't forced, it wasn't anything. And when I watch a lot of animes with the main love interest, you kind of think, oh, okay, I can see it a little bit, but I'm not really bothered. But with the love for Bell, it made this anime a little bit better. When she got someone to make the knife for Bell, it was the fact that she went to someone to find it, you know, one of the best people to make weapons and knives, and she asked them, she begged them, she groveled. And that sort of thing is kind of like, instead of going like, hey, can you make me a weapon? She's like, no. Like, okay, thanks, bye. You know, I'll go buy one, I'll go do something. She really wanted to help Bell progress. The one thing I didn't like about her was the fact that she wouldn't tell Bell about the certain ability that he had, the one that makes his, like, gets double XP and stuff like that. At points, I really wanted them to get together. I really wanted Bell and Hestia to fall in love and to actually be a couple. And one thing I don't like is when Bell turns around and he's oblivious to all. It's like, ha 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 ha. You're like, no, seriously. You know, she's told you how she feels, but, you know, can you actually tell her how you feel? And if you're doing it, not like, oh my god, I love this person, no, I love that person. You know, it's like, can you please turn around and just say what you feel, so we can then just get on with the anime and enjoy it. I also did like Hesteria's kind of naughty streak as well, and it was quite nice. I think there's a scene later on where she's in hot springs, and rather than her going like, no, how dare you, she's like, oh, you're a naughty boy, aren't you? Oh, you know, you like this. You know, I never knew you had that streak. And when Belle's like, no, I didn't mean it. You know, she didn't get offended. And there's the point at the very beginning where she's teasing Belle, and Belle's just come back from this huge, massive fight, and she's like, oh, you know, maybe I'll just sleep with you. And he's like, yeah, okay. And she's like, no, I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it. No. What? I'm just trying to tease you. And he falls asleep, and I'm just like, that is the sort of thing that kind of made me giggle and made Hestia a really good character. Now, I hope I get this name right. It's Lifkria. I'm going to call it Lif. It's just easier. Now, Lif was this sort of character who annoyed me straight off the bat. You know, she used Bell, she tried to say, hey, you know, I want to be your friend, I want to help you progress and become better, and then she backstabs him quite a few times, and it just generally annoyed me. I could understand because later on you find out about her backstory, about why she's done that, how everybody's picked on her, how everybody says like, you know, you're not worthy, you know, how dare you, you know, we've just gone on an adventure and we can eat all the food, you get the scraps, we don't like you. And I can see how that builds up on her, how it pretty much just makes this character kind of like, I hate everybody, I'm now thinking of me and me only. Even though she treats Belle like crap and she betrays him, Belle still likes her, and Belle really helps her out, and you see that Lif's heart melts, her whole personality changes towards him, and she's like, yeah, I want to be your friend. Then you see a love interest happen, like, but even though the Bell doesn't really reciprocate it, Lif really does. And when it comes to like Hestia and her together, when Hestia turns around and says, look, you have done this to my Bell, you know, I don't trust you, I won't forgive you, but I'll accept your apology or something like that. And Belle comes back later on and she's like, hey Belle, look at me, you know, you're mine. And then Lif turns around and does the exact same sort of thing. When Lif joins the team properly, she becomes loyal and she won't leave Belle's side. She becomes a permanent member where Belle and her will go out and they'll put stuff in the backpack. Now, that giant backpack, oh my god, I didn't know if it got bigger over time, but there was a lot of stuff in there. I kind of thought, okay. Welf is one of the characters that I really liked, and I really wish that he came into the series a lot earlier than kind of nearish to the end. Welf is a blacksmith, but his name goes throughout the land as he is one of the best people to make magical swords, but he hates making them. He says that people only come to him, they want power, and they just don't care about the weapons, and then the weapons get smashed, and then they come back to him, and you know, he hates that. He wants to make weapons for people or armor so that they love it and they enjoy it. And when he meets up with Bell, he becomes a fan, and they just join and they become really close. And I really like the interaction between them. His personality is really kind of straightforward. Like, look, I am not going to take any crap from anyone. I am going to do what I want. I'm going to tell you how I feel. So at the beginning, when Bell and Welf team up, oh my god, it's just like you can see the fun that they're having. At points he's like, oh my god, there's a bad guy, we can't do that, and he's like, watch me, and goes straight through them, which I kind of thought, do you know what? That's really cool. I like that. I think that if he joined up at the very kind of nearest the beginning, maybe halfway through disc 1, that he would have been a really great character, and he would have had more development, more fun, and I think he would have become like this amazing person, which I would have loved to have seen. My final thoughts on the anime is it's great. I generally thought I wouldn't really like this. As I said, I watched I think the first episode or 2 episodes in Japanese, and I wasn't kind of hooked on it. But when I heard it in English, I was like, oh my god, this is amazing, and I really enjoyed it. It felt different as well. It wasn't the same as like generic animes or animes of this particular genre. Now I would say that because I really like Sword Art Online, and it did remind me a lot of it, but it reminded me of what it was actually. It wasn't like a video game. It felt like it was a way of life, and it kind of pushed back Sword Art Online for me, and I really enjoyed watching this title. There was enough humor to keep me entertained for hours effectively. It wasn't boring. It wasn't just, oh hey, friend, let's become stronger, and then yeah, mission's done. This had a lot of humor. It had a lot of interesting characters that I would say have become my favorite, and I would love, and I mean love, to have more like a season 2, so I can see what they've been doing. As mentioned before, at the very end of the anime, the last scene gave me goosebumps, or the last fight, shall I say. And there's a point when with the stones, obviously the more bigger the stones, the better payout. And there's one that's huge. I'd say it's almost as big as like one of the giant trees, or let's say it's as big as a house. I would have loved it if Bell had taken it in, because obviously the end credits is when things calm down and you see what's happening, what each character's doing with their life. And I just really wish Bell would have just pushed it in and just gone, do you know that small smidgen that I gave you? Here we go! And I would have loved to see the guy go, what? And then Bell walk out with like a huge sack of cash. If you're like me and you enjoy this genre of anime, you will really enjoy it, and it will be one of the best ones that you watch for a long time until either season 2 or something very similar comes along to actually beat it. Now, I would highly recommend buying this. It's out on Blu-ray and DVD. All links will be in the description down below, so if you want to check it out, or if you want to buy it, then do so. Or if you've watched this after you've bought it, or if you after a while it's been out, then tell me what you think about it. Is this something that you would generally like to buy, or are you going to skip it? Let me know down below in the comments, because I really like it and I'd really like to start talking about it. So Rangers, what are your thoughts? Would you get it? Would you not? What's your favourite characters and what's your favourite moments? There's a lot of it. And then would you recommend this to other people? Let me know down below in the comments, and if you've liked this video, like, favourite, comment and subscribe. Check out all the other videos on the channel. And as always, Rangers, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in a bit.